Today's episode is brought to you by Diet Smoke. Diet Smoke's going to get you feeling real good. Also, today we're brought to you by PrivacyHawk. PrivacyHawk can protect you online so you can feel real good. Now let's jump into this podcast. Hello, everybody. It's time for Ghost and Crendor.
Ghost and Crendor in the morning.
In the morning. Broadcasting live. Before our recording studio. Recording. Wake your ass up. It's the Crendor in the morning. Hello, everybody. Want to send us on a Ghost and Crendor in the morning.
Yay.
Yeah, you know, it's kind of different when there's not a crowd hyping you up and telling you you're awesome.
Oh, yeah, that was like a week ago already.
That was a week ago. Yeah, how'd that happen? Look at us.
Look at us. That was live show number 6.
Something like that, yeah. I mean, we did 2 this year, so I'm feeling pretty good about that.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We've done 2.
My biggest fear, real talk, is that we end up doing live shows on a regular basis, because I'm going to say it, and I don't know if people agree with me or not, but when podcasts start to go full-time live shows and every show is a live show, I stop listening. The shows start to suck every time.
Well, yeah, because it's a different beast, you know?
I mean, yeah, no, I agree with you. It's a different thing entirely.
Yeah, that's why, I mean, listen, I'm never doing all live shows. Number 1, that's too much work.
If you must know, I got some feedback because my mom listened to the live show and she always gives such great feedback. She said, and I quote, took a little while to get rolling. So there you go. All I heard was, beginning sucked, Jesse, do better. That's what I heard. So thanks, Mom. Yeah.
It's like we're a sports team. We just had a couple 3-and-out drives. Just took a while to really get it rolling.
Yeah, but then once we got there, we got there. She'd be like, she'll tell me how much she enjoyed it or whatever, but she was like, it took a while. I was like, cool, thanks, Mom.
The thing with live shows is they become more about, it's like an event, right? It's like something you do every so often, and then it's more like crowd interaction, and it's so many different variables compared to us just sitting down being like, what do you do this week? And like ranting about some random stuff.
I don't want to call out the podcasts, but there are many. I've listened to many podcasts over the years, and every single time, much like when a YouTuber thinks they can become famous for doing something else and they vanish, and then they try to come back and do YouTube and it just doesn't work anymore. Yeah. Same vibe. Like, all right, you just changed. You become something different. You're not what I tuned in for, and I get it. It happens all the time. So, yeah, I don't want to become that. I want to keep what we have, this, and then every so often we'll do a live show just to, like, say, hey, thank you. Come to the live show.
Yeah, that's kind of how I view them. We're on the same page, which is good.
Yeah.
It is good.
It would suck if we weren't. It would suck if you're, like, a few pages ahead, because I, first off, would ask you to help me cheat. But secondly, I don't think I want to constantly be flying back and forth to Chicago.
Yeah.
And I know you most certainly aren't going to fly anywhere, so.
Oh, that's very true. You probably also don't want to cheat off my work. It's like the worst thing you could do.
I mean, it depends on what the subject is.
I guess. There's many of the educational system subjects you would not want to cheat off my test, I will say.
Did you have any great classes in high school? What were you good at?
Gym. Always got an A in gym.
Okay.
Couple like social studies ones. I got like B's.
Okay.
That's pretty good. Math was terrible.
Great, that doesn't help me. Yeah, my math sucked too.
Science was terrible.
Yeah, except for earth science, I liked rocks.
I did
rocks
also
were pretty
get
easy.
earth science. I got like a B in earth science. Yeah.
Earth science was the only science I was like, I get this. The minute it started being like, now let's look at the equation for the biological symbol for farts, and I'm like, no, I'm out.
Yeah, no, it's math, science. I was already like, yeah, I'm not doing any of these. Then we had art. I did pretty all right in art.
In art?
Yep, art. So we had art class.
How do you fail art?
I think failing art's just not trying or just not showing up.
I was about to say, like, art's so subjective. Like, being there and participating is your A.
Yeah, it's subjective enough that sometimes you're like, how are you grading this? Right? Because they would just be like, give you like a C plus. So I'm like, I actually think that was pretty good, but it's all subjective. So it's like,
I bet you could cheese your way through an art class if the assignment was paint a man. You could paint anything and be like, this is how I view mankind.
well, that's what I'm saying.
And what's your artist teacher going to say? Like, incorrect. That's wrong.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They might. They genuinely might.
Yeah, well, then you can fight. I'd fight it. I'd be like, you asked me to draw a man. This is how I perceive man.
Yeah, but then already you're getting into you're making the art class into something more than what it has to be.
I'd like to think the art teacher would be thankful because clearly they wanted to be in the art world, and now they're just like me. I wanted to like do cool stuff, but I still was a teacher, so here we are.
Did you know any art teachers when you were a teacher?
No, oh no, my school didn't even have an art class.
Oh,
yeah, oh no, I was at a public school, dude. We had no art classes, no music, no nothing, which is weird because when I was in school, in the late 90s, we had all that stuff. Yeah. And then by the time I came back to Ohio in 2008, gone, all of it.
damn.
Yeah, crazy.
I had art, but it was the English teacher, so she was like half art, half English teacher. So she just did both. So I think that's how they kept stuff around, was they had teachers do multiple subjects.
Sure, I mean, just like most high school history / social studies teachers are the football coach or the wrestling coach. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, so it's stuff like that. In fact, English was a weird because it would like vary. Sometimes I'd do well, sometimes I'd do bad. It depended on what we were doing and who the teacher was. So like we'd have to read stuff. It would always depend on if I enjoyed reading it. So some things I'd do really well on because I'd be like, yo, this is really good, and I enjoyed it. And then others I was like, I don't care, and then I would do bad.
Yeah.
Then there'd be like writing assignments and grammar and all that. Sometimes I would just do bad. And then other times, it really depended on the teacher, honestly.
Yeah, for me, English was sort of hit and miss. I had a lot of English classes that I did great in, and I had a few that I was terrible at. I'm going to let you know what I was good. In in English, this is how you knew if I was going to be good. Was the teacher hot? If she was hot, I was working my ass off. I don't know what it was, but like hot English teachers did it for me in high school.
The entirety of your grade depended on the attractiveness of the
100, dude. 9th grade English teacher was so hot. Plus, she was like, I'm going to say 22. So in my high school mind, dude, I was like, I could get in there, though. I could. But no, of course not. So I really busted my ass and tried hard for her. That was the highest A I've ever gotten in an English class. But history, I always did well in history. That was never a problem for me. Social studies, that was pretty easy. But my oh my, science, yeah, I could not do science to save my life. Only earth sciences was I good at. And math, after 8th grade math, I fully checked out. There's a reason I was voted class clown of my high school because I did not I was a bad student for math teachers. Thank God for the TI-85 because I think they just let me sit in the corner and play on my calculator and like do drug wars and Snake and all that wars. I was gone. And it was rough because they very clearly had given up on me too. Like it wasn't like they tried to get me to pay attention. They just didn't bother. And because they didn't bother, and I certainly wasn't, I was the kid who was like, why do I need to know this? What the hell does an I have to do with me?
Yeah. That was me too.
Doing taxes or exchanging currency? Like, this is the kind of math that's going to get me to the moon, but that's not who I am. So what the hell do I care?
And they would just be like, well, I learned it, so you got to learn it. Or like, this is what we're learning, so it is what it is. And it's like, this is dumb.
The best was when they would be like, what, are you going to have a calculator in your pocket? And I'd stand up and put the TI-85 in my pocket and be like, yeah. And now it's your phone. Like, even more useful.
Yeah.
I'm like, y'all didn't plan this at all. Yeah.
It's, yeah, dude, math was definitely the worst. I remember in grade school, once it hit, like, I think 7th grade, once they started doing algebra, I fell off the cliff. And it was, I remember 8th grade, we had like smart algebra kid math, and then we had dumb kid math. And I was dumb kid math.
Oh, yeah, I was in dumb kid.
And it was like all of the class clown kids. And like,
yes,
it was so fun. I remember the teacher was like, all right, if we do well in this, I got some candy in my office. Then she sent me and this one kid to go get the candy, but we were just like, yo, look over here. We were just like scouting around, and then came back, and then everyone's like, woo. And then like the actual algebra class, they were just doing math like losers.
Yeah, I knew it wasn't for me, math in general, when and I've said this story before, but it's so completely apt for this. My parents really tried to make me do like the AP classes to, they wanted a good future for me. And if you have all those brains, back when everyone thought college could really help you get ahead in life.
Right.
And now
and not just put you in debt.
Yeah. Back in a time when people thought it could really help. My parents were like, we got to do the AP things and do this. And I remember one year, and I don't remember if it was 7th grade or 8th grade, but it was the last math class where I realized, F it, this isn't for me. When I got an assignment, I didn't understand it. I took it home. My parents and I sat down all night at the kitchen table and did it together. And my parents were like, oh, this is how you do this and this and this. And I was like, okay, cool. And I got it back and I got an F. And I realized my parents didn't know, I didn't know, and we were doing just fine. There was nothing about our life that said because we didn't have this math, we were screwed. And from that point on, I think mentally I checked out. And to this day, I always remember my parents helped me and I failed. So that was, I think, a divination line or whatever, like a dive, like from past Jesse to future Jesse. That made me realize, oh, 1, my parents aren't perfect, and 2, math sucks ass, so screw it.
Yeah, like the only math you need to know is like your taxes, and even then you just pay someone, just give them all your shit.
And if you can't, there's plenty of free apps online, and even the government has a thing you can just fill out the information and it will do the math for you. I will say, in college, one of the few things that I took that I really, really liked was economics, macroeconomics, microeconomics, understanding how things run and how things are paid for, and understanding the stock market. Once you learn it's just gambling, but like sanctioned gambling, then everything makes so much more sense. And economics, like, oh, okay, yeah, I get microeconomics. I get, handing money to a store. I get macroeconomics, like governments spending money and buying things and trading things and tariffs. Once you understand that, you kind of get it. And from that point on, it's really unnecessary to learn math that suddenly involves numbers and letters or, equations and things. Like, yeah, okay, finding what X is can be helpful, but you're never going to need it on a daily basis.
Yeah, it's for the people that are going into like the smart jobs.
Yeah, and bless you. Cool. You're going to save the world. Yeah, we're counting on you.
Yeah. So, yeah, I just never good at math. I failed math, I think, like 3 times. It just sucked. And then finally, once I was in community college and I did bad at math again, I was like, what if I just don't do this? And I was like, yeah, that sounds good. I just stopped.
I mean, that's what college is figuring out how to cheese everything that they require of you. Because when you go to college, there's your major and you have the classes for your major. But also, there's several other gen ed classes you have to take. And the way that I did it was just like, okay, I need 2 math classes. F it, I'm going to take economics. And then it would be like, you need a bunch of English classes. And I was like, all right, well, what's the closest I can get to a history level class that's English? And I found one that was about Vietnam. I was like, great, easy. Just doing that. Doing things like I had to take one. Oh God, I'm trying to think of what the requirement was, but the class I chose was straight up a woodworking class. Just in the workshop. It was just to fill a thing. And I think in the end, I ended up making a birdhouse that sucked. I still got an A. Most of the class, to be honest, we watched old episodes of Voltron. There was a TV in the room, and all the dude bros who were in there were like somehow very into old anime. So they'd be like, yo, you see Ninja Scroll, dude? I'm like, what? What is happening? They'd be like, dude, we just got copies of all the original seasons of Voltron, dude. You want to watch? And I was like, okay. And we just sat in there and pretended to sand stuff while we watched Voltron. It was a great class. I loved that class. Shout out to that teacher. He was never there. I don't even remember who the guy was.
That reminds
Got an
me
A,
of,
though.
That reminds me in high school. They were like, you can take a language. And I remember I took a language and it was like Spanish. And after 1 week, I was like, I'm going to fail this. So I dropped it. And they're like, I mean, you can take a different class that gives you the same thing, but it's like not a language class. It was like sports marketing or like a typing class or like a computer class. And so for the next 2 years for the languages we needed, I took those two classes, got A's in both. And sports marketing, actually it taught me how commercials run, which was actually interesting. It taught me that if you watch commercials that'll start right after the show ends, they'll play the like national commercials like Coca-Cola, and like they'll play their shitty AI Coke ad, and then they'll play like Amazon's commercial where it's another shitty commercial where it's like, what the world need now. And I hate that ad. And then it'll start playing more local ads. And once it starts playing the local ads, that's when you know that your TV show's about to come back on. And they would always save the local ads for last, right before the show came back. So I'd be like, oh, that's pretty cool. So whenever I'd watch like sports or something, I'd be like, are they on the local ads? They'd be like, tonight on Fox, watch your Simpsons episode as we catch up. And I'd be like, oh, yeah, it's coming back.
I'm really curious about how they do it on the back end when it comes to the national versus local. Because sometimes you'll see a commercial either about to start or end, and then another commercial cuts it off. Mm-hmm. And it's a local one. So it's and it's very clearly a like placeholder, maybe? I don't know. Like sometimes, for example, if you listen to or watch a video feed of, let's say, a cable news show, right? Mm-hmm. Like for the elections, I don't have cable anymore. So this past election, I watched it all online. And the online stuff, when they go to commercial, they didn't play commercials. It was literally just a screen that had the logo of the channel and then like, and maybe it would play eventually before it would come back on 3 or 4 ads for shows on that channel. So it'd be like, tune in tonight as Jackman interviews AOC about hot dogs, right? And like that, those would be the ads. And if you watch it live on TV, you don't ever see those. So I wonder if that's for the broadcasters, if it's for the station, if it's for local stations to sync up to bring. I don't know, but I've always been curious about that one aspect of it. There's just extra stuff happening in the background, and we only see part of it because there's a national broadcast, and then local stuff comes in whenever they can fit it in. I just don't know the ins and outs of how that works.
Yeah, I don't know either. It's actually pretty interesting how it's all structured, but yeah, that was the main thing I remembered. I was like, that's pretty cool. And then we also had a thing where we had to invent our own sports thing, and somebody had the idea for like the stat bat, and then they settled on something else. So me and my friends stole their idea and made the stat bat, and they gave us an A, and they were like, they took our idea, and we were like, you didn't even use it. Then the teacher was like, hey, he's got a point. And then I think they did some like shitty toilet paper thing, and it did worse than the stat bat. Genius.
That's marketing 101. You guys are stupid.
Yeah, you got to steal. Yeah. So that was cool. Yeah, pretty much just you had to do anything to avoid doing real work, which, oh my God, that reminds me. I've told this story before, but in college, community college, of course, I had that one English class. It was like English 102, because English 101 I really liked. I had like a cool teacher. He was an actual author. I actually tried in his class. I got like an A, and he was like, you're a pretty good writer. And I was like, this is awesome. And I was like, English 102 will be fun. And it was this woman that gave us like a syllabus. It was like 200 pages thick. And she's like, in this class, we're going to work hard. And I was like, oh, this sucks. So dropped that, went to the guy who was like a part-time bartender, part-time teacher. And he just let us play soccer in class. We like turned all the desks like up. And then he said America was too fat, which is why he made us play soccer in class. Just he gave us the least amount of work possible because he didn't want to do work himself, and I got an A in that class.
You know what's so funny is I can almost hear someone say, why pay for college if you're not going to work hard and get your degree? And I just want to say, unless you're doing engineering or something like a top end where you're definitely going to get a job and you need to know the information, I will go and die on this hill that I think the vast majority of people get a college diploma or go to college because they're told it's what you need to do, not because they want to be there. And so most people don't give a damn about getting knowledge or whatever. They just want the A's so they can say, I got a bunch of A's and graduated college, now I'm going to go get my job.
Right.
Because we've been told for years and years and years that going to college gets you a better job. And right now, that's just not the case. Unless, again, you're doing something top end where they require you to have, you know, a knowledge base that is far beyond what you and I have.
Like a doctor or a pharmacist or like
Yeah, exactly.
building
like
houses
a
or
lawyer, someone who, you know, you have to have fundamental knowledge of things. Yeah.
Right. Because that's the problem. It's like everybody goes and they're just like, I'll just get a degree in whatever, astronomics. And then you're like, hold on. My degree in astronomics isn't useful. Or like everybody else got astronomics degrees. There can only be there can only be so many astronomicists.
Like I can't at all complain about other people and what they do at college. I literally went to school, higher education, for theater and history. I double majored in two of the most useless things ever. Ever. It doesn't, there's no reason to go to a college to do theater. You can learn that in the damn streets.
You could learn that in the streets. You could be like George Washington in a play.
I mean, that's very true. I could. Oh man, going back to what you're saying about your teacher having written a book, I always wonder about what the standard is for hiring a higher ed teacher, because I think it's very funny to me that one of my more impressive theater teachers, we loved him because he was once in a Burger King commercial. And we thought that was the coolest. And we were like, he knows how to act because he was in a Burger King commercial. And he's like, help me buy my first truck. And we were like, wow, incredible. Looking back, I'm like, that was our line of like what all the other teachers trash. That guy, he was in a commercial. That's where we were mentally. And I'm like, that's stupid. What are we thinking?
I mean, yeah, just because you wrote a book as well doesn't mean it like did well or was good. Like anybody can, you know, kind of just write a book. So we just assumed, like, it must have been good. You wrote it and he's teaching, so.
Yeah. We were just like, oh, damn. Like, there was one person, I can't remember what her name, I think Maria might have been her name. She was a professor. Loved her. Also worked very hard for her. Again, she was incredibly attractive. And so I just worked so hard. And I remember her being like, we should keep in touch when you go off and find yourself and become like you're like amazing. And I was like, thanks for believing in me. I'm going to try my hardest to be someone, you know, like that kind of thing.
Right.
Years later, she messages me. She's like, I saw you're on YouTube. I'm so proud of you. You're living the dream. Mind you, this wasn't, you know, last year or the year before. And it wasn't any of that. This was 2012 Jesse, who was not making a damn, like barely making a cent, doing dumb videos where I'm like, I'm a goblin and look at that ass, you know, like I was like a little embarrassed. I was like, oh no. All that work and this is what I'm doing. Literally just being like, I'm driving around as a goblin and I'm smooching on goblin girls. Yeah, go back, look at my first videos. I'm pretty sure my first video is straight up a sex joke in the first 2 minutes.
As opposed to now where it's in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, for algorithm reasons. I don't want to get flagged. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, those were the building blocks, though. They helped get you to where you are today.
Sure. It's just funny that was the moment she discovered me. It was like, you're doing it, Jesse. Because it had been years. I hadn't seen her since 2007. So... and when I started doing that, it was 2011, 2012. And so For her, it was like, you made it. And I'm like, oh boy. But that's a weird thing. Like, I think about all my old friends who I thought, man, they're going to be famous someday. They're going to do something. Every single one of them has dropped off the face of the earth. They could be dead for all I know. I haven't heard from a one of them. High school friends I hear from every once in a while, but my college friends, except for one girl who is the girl who definitely told me after we left college, she was like, if you would have just asked me out, I would have gone out with you. I'm like, what? That happens to me all the time, and honestly, it pisses me off. I do not like when people are like, if you would have just said something, you say something. How am I to know? Anyway, that's the only other person I know. Everyone else, every other friend I have from college, I don't know where the hell they're at. They vanished. I thought for sure they're going to be famous or do a thing or whatever. Nope. I think they got taken out by the mob. I don't know what the hell's going on. I haven't heard from one of them.
Yeah, there's only like a small handful of people I even still know from just grade school, high school, just everything combined. Like it's just like a couple people. And then there's like a couple friends I had that went to different schools and stuff. But like, yeah, it's...
Sure.
I mean, that's like anybody. I think everybody kind of drifts apart over time when you meet people in workplaces and everything.
Yeah. I mean, it's weird that for me, I somehow can keep track of most of the high school friends that I had. There's one guy who I loved, who I thought was like one of my best friends. Dude was the first of us to get married, and after he got married, he vanished. I'm pretty sure his wife said you have to stop hanging out with those guys.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Because, like, he ceased to exist. He moved out of the city. This is when I was still teaching, too. He moved out of the city, and then we never heard from him again. I don't know what Meanwhile, I got other friends who will talk, every other week and be like, yo, what's up, dude? Oh, not much. By the way, because I know my mom is probably listening, when I say talk, I mean guy talk. I don't mean, hey, what's going on? How's your life? How's it going? What's going on with the kids? I mean, yo, you good? Yeah, dude. All right, cool. That's it. That's the conversation.
There is definitely a difference. I know, like, when I'll hang out with even my Warhammer friends or something, then Toaster One will be like, so what did that friend think about this? I'm like, I don't know. And she's like, didn't you say he, like, just went on a trip and did this thing? I'm like, yeah. And she's like, did you ask him about it? I'm like, no. She's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I was just like on a trip, and he was like, yeah. I was like, oh, that's cool.
That's all that's needed. That's the only information we need is, are you okay now? Cool. The rest of the time, I'm not going to ask you. You're clearly doing fine. You just went on vacation. You don't need me to bug you about that. If you had something to tell, you would tell me.
That's what I thought. I'm like, if they want to talk about it, they'll talk about it. But otherwise, I'm like, yeah. Because most of the time, it's like, if somebody wants to bring something up, they'll bring it up. If they're really, because otherwise, they're just trying to forget, chill out, whatever.
Honestly, that's what it is. I think there's a lot of misconception about guys' conversations. And it's not that we don't want to share things. It's that we know what to share and what not to share and burden friends with. Because it's like, dude, I got so much shit going on already. I don't need you to worry about me. Like, that's the vibe. And then it's like, yo, you good? Cool. All right, you want to get a beer? All right, cool. Like, that's it. I'm going to turn my brain off. I'm going to hang with my friends. That's why most guys just like hanging out. And if anyone asks you, what'd you guys do? What happened? And you just say, we just sat around and hung out and like watched TV or whatever. It's it's an excuse to just purely hang out and shut your brain off and I read an article today that said men don't reach full emotional maturity until 43.
That definitely checks out.
And it checks out. And it said something like women are 32, I think, or maybe 33, something like that. And so it purely checks out that just sometimes guys like to get together and be like pure cavemen, like, oh, eat chicken wing, watch TV. Like, that's it. I don't need anything else. I'll be good.
Yeah. It's, it can go the opposite way where somebody's too closed off. They don't tell anybody anything. And then they're, going insane in the inside.
Sure. But I think a good, healthy friendship is when that guy's like, bros, I had a rough day, man. Watch the friends. If any friend in like my friend group is like, I've been having a rough, dudes will rally around him like we are fending off from attack. We'll be like, what do you need, bro? Who I got to take out? What's going on? Like, talk to me, dude. Like that's it will happen. We'll be like, okay, I got you. What do we got to do?
Yeah. No, I agree. I think it's that reminds me. I've been watching. I was watching this. I think it's called Diary of a CEO YouTube channel. I think there's a lot of those. You might have seen it. It's this British dude who interviews like a whole bunch of people, and he was interviewing this one woman. It was from a few months ago about body language. It was really interesting, like the amount of things that body language tells you, just from like a hand gesture perspective. Like when people wave at each other as a greeting, like, hey, how's it going? It's showing you like, hey, I'm unarmed. I'm like safe. Like it goes back to caveman days, or, things like if somebody squints their eyes when you say something, it means like, oh, they're kind of like questioning it. Like they're like, And so she's like, whenever I see somebody do that, like, I always like ask them like, does everybody understand? And look right at them and be like, I mean, there's like, she goes over like a billion different things, but it was really interesting to the point where like she talked about TED Talks and how the most popular TED Talks have like 470 hand gestures and body movements, while the like least popular ones are only at like 200. So people just like body language and hand movements, which makes sense.
Yeah. People enjoy, I don't want to say they enjoy body language, but
it's like visual.
Yeah, I think it's because when you're using your hands more, it's a sign that you're more relaxed. Like you're not going to see people who are stressed out or people who are trying to like get one over on you or lie to you or whatever, flailing their arms about. It's a relaxed sign. People who are standing still and their arms are at their sides, there's something creepy about it, to the point where when you're in theater, wow, my theater training really paying off. They always say when you're on stage and you're performing that unless it's a requirement of your character, hands at sides. And it always feels unnatural and weird because that's not how most people, even right now, as I'm talking to you, my hands are moving. It's just not how people do stuff. But when you look at a figure or you see someone on stage or in a movie, like look how often they move their hands versus when they're walking and talking or they're standing and their hands are at their sides. Yeah.
It's like it's one of those things where you don't really notice it until you do notice it. And it was really interesting. It's called Body Language Expert, Diary of a CEO channel from Vanessa Van Edwards. That's her name. So if you care at all about the stuff like that, go check that out. It's pretty cool. There's
I gotta be honest, not where I thought we were gonna go with a YouTube channel called Diary of a CEO. I was about to be like, how worried are they? And can we make them more worried?
Yeah, no, it's not like that.
Damn. All right. Well,
she even mentioned one interesting thing was like eye contact. She's like, everywhere you hear with like how to get more social and be more normal in social situations, they're like, make eye contact. But if you make too much eye contact, it's creepy, right? And so they said the right amount of eye contact was like 70%. So like when you're talking to somebody, usually you're naturally like looking up, like that's how your brain like processes information or gathers it, like hard drive searches is when you like kind of look up and you're just like, oh yeah, what was that thing I was thinking about? And so that's something that I guess people have like hardwired into them, like, oh yeah, they're searching for information, they're blah blah, instead of just staring them down like, do you see? Like it's like a weird intimidation thing. Even right now when I'm talking, I'm using my hands. I realize that even with like voice acting, like all the time I'm always like hand movements.
Well, I mean, that's if you watch a very good voice actor or just an actor who's in the booth doing voices, you'll see them constantly moving, right? It's about, it's the same thing as if you can hear a smile in someone's voice. When you hear someone talk to you and it's only audio, but you can hear the smile as they talk. That's why a lot of voice actors, when they do commercials that like, at Cool Kid Farms, we love when you come and eat our Cool Kid platter. Like you can hear them selling it to you with the smile that they definitely, if you were watching them in the booth, they have a smile on their face. while they're saying it, because it comes across somehow in some way. I don't know why, but I guess it's because they're doing it and the physicality of it transfers into the voice. Who knows?
Yeah. It's just like it feels natural when you're doing it like that too. Even like old awkward Crendor, I feel like I never did any hand things, but I was always like, I'm not gonna do that because that's kind of cringe, you know. It was like how I used to be, when really not doing it made it extremely awkward and cringy. So by thinking I was cringy, I was being cringy. To me, you never were like that, but I think you were already just a goofy, charismatic person, so it wasn't as awkward as it
I mean, I think I lucked out. Yeah, I think because I'd done stuff. Again, I started this at 29.
Right.
So I wasn't like a fresh out of high school kid who was going to try a thing. I had been doing radio stuff before. I had done theater in high school and for 4 years in college. So performing, that's why I like live shows and stuff. Despite my mom saying, and I quote, it took a while to get going. So
sometimes
I'm going to give her such a hard time for that. I don't care. It's made me laugh very hard. But I guess it's all it's built into who I am.
Yeah, and a lot of it is just learned. Like I'm under the impression that like you can kind of learn most things, like being social, how to like, not be awkward. Like just when you learn socialization skills and you mature and just, it's like anything. Like you learn like how to properly interact with people and how to like listen and how to respond. Like some people just don't learn that, and you can kind of pick up on it pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, you can go back and just watch like 2010 Crendor BlizzCon. Like, my God, I can't do it.
You don't need to go back and suffer through that, to be honest. All you need to do is go watch any, and I'm going to, you know what? I'm going to put them on blast because I think it's, they're very popular. And to be honest, I don't think they care what I have to say.
Right.
But go watch any of the OTK big award shows they do. Or
right.
the like games shows that they do where they host stuff, and it is so obvious the scale of talent that they have within OTK of who is a streamer and who is an entertainer. And there are many people in their roster of people who, when they get on camera, shut down as human beings and look super cringe. And there are other people who sparkle and shine. Mm-hmm. And it is clearly what they're meant to do. And when you combine them together in a live platform, it is so noticeable which ones are not ready for prime time.
Yeah, no, you can definitely pick up on those vibes. I mean, they probably are more like how I used to be back in the day, where I remember I got interviewed by Trade Chat, and she was just like, "So you're here at BlizzCon? What's your favorite game?" And I could have. Like modern day, I would have been like, I like WoW, but I've been checking everything out, whatever. But back then I was like, my favorite game is Diablo. I am kidding, it's World of Warcraft. Just like, okay, that's enough watching old me for today.
You know what I realized? There is an alternate reality where you could have taken that to the bank and become like the video game Nardwar.
That's true. Just
I would have
fully embraced
loved that.
Greetings, everyone. I am here again with informative information.
I want you to interview people, and I want you to surprise them with gifts and way too much information.
Yeah, you just info dump on all of them.
Yeah, and if people don't know who Nardwar is at home, just Google Nardwar. He's a Canadian legend and a true gem. Big fan.
Oh my God, this doesn't really relate to what we're talking about. It kind of does, but we brought up like information and news, and I was on stream the other day, we were talking about the Switch 2, and I was like, didn't they just talk about how it's going to come out pretty soon? And I started looking it up, and I found a website, and I swear to God, this is the most AI shit that I've ever seen. And I was like, it's scraping Reddit and writing articles off like random Reddit posts, and it's actually terrible. So the article I found is called Nintendo Switch 2's official name is being roasted by tired fans. And then they're just
What?
like, this can clearly be seen over on Reddit. And then they just start sharing all of these Reddit comments. And here's the thing that made me realize it was AI. Number one, it was like, okay, it's getting a bunch of Reddit posts, so it's probably just, taking all this shit and posting it. But it said, the top comment under the post says simply, I'm going insane, to illustrate just how ludicrous these leaked claims are becoming. Switch Tua, jokes another user, which genuinely made me choke on my own breath as I laughed. And I stopped right there. I was like, number one, I don't think I've ever laughed hard enough to choke on my own breath. And I would never laugh that hard at Switch Tua. And no human being should. And so instantaneously, I was like, this is AI. And I'm pretty sure it is, because every other article they've posted is just Reddit stuff.
Yeah, that's a big problem across all video game news right now, especially AI grabbing stuff. The one that I remember being a real big fan of was from 2023, which was Glorbo from World of Warcraft. So much was I a fan that when WoW did its 2023 year in review, they used footage of me talking about Glorbo. Do you remember this?
I kind of do remember Glorbo.
Like, they made like a fake Reddit post about Glorbo being broken. And it was like, Glorbo's ruining World of Warcraft. And then a bunch of news sites picked up on Glorbo, which is nothing.
Yeah, I remember that.
Glorbo's nothing. And everyone was laughing their ass off because they did it on purpose. They were like, AI skimming, let's create content that messes with it. So then that spun off into Glorbo appearing in other games, like Destiny 2. I believe they had a Glorbo's ruining the game Destiny 2. They had a bunch of other Glorbo things. And I love that they kept getting picked up till finally it was very clear that whoever was using the AI just took out the word Glorbo so it wouldn't pick up Glorbo anymore. But that was so funny.
Yeah. God, I hate the amount. It's like that Coca-Cola commercial where it's just all AI. There's like other commercials like that, and they look so ass. I hate them. And then there's the non-AI ones, like the Amazon Janitor one. That one sucks. Garbage.
What? Amazon Janitor?
You haven't seen the Amazon Janitor? Oh my God.
Dude, I don't have cable anymore. I have not watched TV in like 7 months.
I realize I only see these because I watch sports, so I have to like...
Sure.
So it's a janitor, and he's mopping up, and I guess he used to like sing at the venue or something, and then he's mopping, and he's singing like, what the world needs now.
All right, well, that makes sense for what you're saying earlier.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And then one of the people that works there is like, you know what? We're going to get him a jacket. So they get him a jacket like he's a singer or how he used to sing. And they're just like, go up on stage. And then all the people working there sitting there watching him. And he's singing like, what the world? So he's like getting to do what he used to do. And then that's it. So all I got from that commercial was, number one, he got to relive his glory, and it's like, all right, now go back to mopping the floors, dumbass.
Yeah, keep mopping the floors, idiot. Yeah.
And then I was like, number two, what happened? Like, was he just really good, and then he just stopped? Like, why? What brought him down? Like, if you're that good and you're, putting on big acts and stuff, did people just stop caring? Like, I have so many questions. And then number three, Amazon singing about the world needing love was, I think, the most ironic part.
Yeah, like, that's really stupid.
When I think of Amazon, I think of loving the world. So yeah, it's a terrible commercial. If you haven't seen it and you want to get really mad at nothing, go check it out. It sucks.
I'm trying to remember. I feel like this is Amazon's way of trying to do that thing that, what is the name of that British store? There's a very famous British store that every year for Christmas does like the ridiculously sappy 2.5 minute long commercial about like, love at the holidays or whatever. Right. And they've done it every year for so many years, and they always do it every time. And I wonder if American companies are now trying to do the same thing, except I don't know what the relationship with that store and the UK is versus the relationship between American stores and American consumers. Because I'm going to let you know, never have I once been conned into being like, wow, they made me feel something. I am going to buy something from them. Like Coke has been doing that for years and I don't give a damn. I'm like, wow, that polar bear and his polar bear kids certainly sold me on Coke, right?
Well,
or the Clydesdales for Budweiser. I'm like, wow, those horses like that doesn't happen. So when they try to do something like Amazon's doing, like, it's about the emotion of our ad. Like, nah, dude, you guys suck.
Yeah. No, and I think the worst part is that it's not genuine, right? Like, they sat in a boardroom and they're like, how can we emotionally get, like, vulnerability out of people so they buy our products? Like, they just sat around thinking that. It's like, they'd probably really like it if a guy used to sing, he went up on stage and talked about love. They're like, yeah, that sounds good. Throw that shit up there. Now, how do we cut Christmas bonuses?
Yeah, and that's the same thing with every other time they try to do anything, be it, like doing sales on holidays or doing, like, even Black Friday as a concept is kind of dead. People are like, nah, I'm all right. One of the funnier ones is all the online presence and all the marketing stuff around Pride Month, right? It's during the summer, and all of a sudden, rainbow everything, and then the minute it hits July 1, it's gone. Just gone. It's like, we all saw through what you were doing. That wasn't a sincere attempt to be like, we celebrate all people. It's like, no. You just wanted some money.
Yeah. No, they always want money. That's the key. It's the same as all those drug ads where they're like, hey, you can play in the backyard with your kid. You can go canoeing down a river. It's always the same with all those ads. You like play with your dog in the backyard as they read off the list of like may cause diarrhea, may cause hair loss,
may cause hallucinations of dog in backyard. Yeah.
Yeah. I hate it. I hate that they do that stuff. And it's more reason why people hate ads and advertisers.
Yeah. I feel like there was a time, and it's probably a 60s, 70s, where advertising figured out how to manipulate really well. Like they got in on the manipulation train. They're like,
it's kind of like when people figured out psychology, because it goes hand in
exactly. Hand. Yeah, they're like, oh, people like this, and they like this thing. Mad Men is a great example. If you just watch any of that show, you can see how they're like, we figured out a way to manipulate people to get them to buy things. And I feel like the 80s was kind of the peak of that. And then the 90s was the burning end of it. And then when we hit the year 2000 and beyond, people just kind of like slowly realized, wait a minute, you're trying to manipulate me to buy your product.
It's
and from that point on, it doesn't work anymore. Like ads do not faze me. The only thing that phases me is the realization that they bumped the volume 50% for ads.
No, yeah, I hate that.
That makes me so
it's
mad.
Illegal too. I don't think you're allowed to do it.
It is now, but for a while, that was the more modern version is you're trying to watch a video on the internet and the video barely plays at a reasonable, it's like barely 720 or whatever, but the ad is 4K and plays just fine.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait a minute, so you're not giving me the bandwidth for the video I want to watch, but you'll definitely give me the bandwidth for the deodorant commercial I just had to sit through. Cool.
Yeah. What was... Oh, I wanted to bring up one more thing, completely unrelated to everything.
Oh, boy.
So, I was going to bring it up earlier. It fit into, like, my English storytelling stuff, but then we swapped off. So now I'm returning.
There is no reason or rhyme to this show, so I don't care.
So we know from weeks past about my dislike of Arcane. All right, that's not what this is about.
Yeah. You're still on this, huh?
That's not what this is about. Okay, and we know that I'm more of the gamer person that plays like Blood Bowl and RNG and Kaizo, and you're more of like the story-driven person.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
But I get a lot of people that are like, well, Crendor just hates lore. But I don't hate lore. And I think I was trying to piece together what I like in stories. Because I've read books that I like. I've watched movies and, seen stories. There's like certain games I've played where I like the story. And so I was trying to figure out, what do I like in stories that you don't, or you still might like the stories, but what makes me like interested in a story? And I think it's primarily the world building. And I think because the reason I like that is because whenever I play games, even like open world, like Zelda or Elden Ring or all these things, my favorite part was just like running around and just finding stuff. And I'm just like, whoa, this is cool. Like in Elden Ring, that's all I did. I would just run around and be like, whoa, what's that? This is cool. Whoa, what's that? But I never cared about the main story. And so I was trying to see if you could piece together what type of, I don't know, story enjoyer that is.
There must be some name for it or a term for it. Because, yeah, the concept of running around discovering things, I think connects to, because if you're anything like me during original World of Warcraft, like 1.0, back in the day, there wasn't a damn story to that game. Barely a story. But the story was, I played through Warcraft 1, 2, and 3. I have heard of the places they talk about. I did the Calling of Stratholme, and oh my god, I'm going to go there now. Or I'm going to sneak into Mount Hyjal, and I'm going to go to the area the devs blocked off, and I'm going to break in, and we're going to see the giant skeleton of like, what's-his-face that got blown up by wisps. And that was what the story of World of Warcraft was back in the day. Then they added story, which I loved, but that didn't come till the second expansion. Like the first expansion was cool, but it was just another version of, hey, we are going to let you explore stuff and see things. And any real story stuff, you had to have done the high-end raids, which most people we know don't do. It was about exploration. There must be a name for that. There must be something behind that, because I have that too, but I just like knowing the reasoning. So, for example, if we had snuck into Mount Hyjal again and we found a giant skeleton on a tree, I would have been like, what the hell does that mean? But because I played the other games, I know exactly what that is. And so I was like, oh, that's a cool payoff. I love that. Versus I'm exploring and I saw something weird. Like I think you like, for example, Elden Ring. You turn a corner and there's a crazy vista and you have no clue what you're looking at, but it's really cool looking, and you're going to walk into it and keep going. You're very Lewis and Clarky that way. It isn't that you knew where you were going, you just went because it looked neat. And you're like, what's over there? How's that work? What's that thing? Me, I would look at that and be like, all right, that's clearly the Tower of Morgoth. And over there, that, right? And I'd be like, and that's how that's connected to that. Oh, I can't believe they're doing this. Like, that's what I would come at it from.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking. There has to be a name for that.
I just don't know what it is.
Yeah, I don't know what it is either. That's why I figured you would, but I guess you don't. Somebody in the comments has to know.
Yeah, I'm sure someone who isn't doing a podcast and has time to Google right now could easily find it for us.
Yeah, because I mean, even when I play other things, like Warhammer, for example, I don't want to learn all about the goblins, but I like knowing of little things about their culture. Like I'm like, oh, the Squig Hoppers, when they become Boingrod Bounders, which is when they put knight armor on, they become that because they survived as a Squig Hopper, which normally you die. And so they kind of get full of themselves and they're like, yeah, I'm really cool. I'm a knight. And so they put on knight armor. And so they become like an advanced form. So I'm like, that's pretty cool. But like, I don't need to know more than that. I don't need to know like a specific Squig Hopper story. I don't need to know anything. I'm just like, yo, that's pretty cool. So I think it's more of like instead of a zoomed in heavy character dialogue perspective, I enjoy more of the zoomed out kind of worldly perspective of all these little stories occurring all over.
Yeah, I absolutely understand. I just don't know what that's called. I'm sure it has a name.
Yeah. So somebody that knows that, tell us.
Yep.
Yeah. That's all.
Well, speaking of crapping on ads and I don't know. I'm trying to think of a segue here that can cover up the fact that we've been really against ads and commercials today. But anyway, hey, how about you have some? It's that time of year. it's the end. We're coming down to the last few days. The holiday season is wrapping up, and you probably gave a bunch of gifts, but hey, if you didn't, or you're still looking for something maybe nice for yourself, and maybe you just want to relax, Diet Smoke is here to help you with some incredible edible deals. Diet Smoke is excited to present their new Blue Dream Gummies, crafted to give you an uplifting, perfectly balanced buzz in every bite. Their award-winning gummies give you just the right vibe without worrying if you had a little too much, or, whether you're replacing your usual nightcap, need a natural way to unwind, or just want to mellow out and go to sleep, Diet Smoke has got you covered. I cannot stress it enough. The fruit punch ones they have, that's a nightcap for me. That's how I wind down. I'm not, some people will do a little drink. Some people do a little whatever. For me, it's just one gummy, and I'm like, yeah, dude, yeah. And if you're not 100% satisfied, the team will recommend a flavor, the right type for you. They'll replace it, refund it, no questions asked. They got super fast shipping, and they can do it nationwide. And just for Cox and Crendor listeners, as part of their awesome deals, you get $50 as a welcome gift, plus 20% off your entire order. Head to www.dietsmoke.com. Use promo code COX at checkout. Again, don't miss this epic deal, because they're going to give you not just 20% off, but exclusively $50 as a gift to spend on dietsmoke.com. Promo code COX. Diet Smoke, your beautifully balanced cannabis experience, now with the perfect vibes just for y'all. Also, today we're brought to you by PrivacyHawk. It's crazy out there on the internet. I'm sure you're aware of this. You can have your data exposed, and as a public figure, it happens frequently to me. I'll get notifications on PrivacyHawk that are like, dark web's got some of your stuff, dude. Thankfully, it's all really old accounts for really old things that still have my old AOL email address, so I'm not too stressed because I don't use that and none of the passwords associated with it matter. But it's a little bit like, oh, okay. And as things get hacked, and if you sign up for something, companies can just sell your information because they be doing that now. PrivacyHawk will let you know. It'll follow through on those things, and when you're ready, you can go in and just, if it's associated with certain email accounts, you can just be like, remove everything from the internet associated with this email, and it will do it. Because cleaning up your personal information online is time consuming. PrivacyHawk's free scan searches thousands of websites and databases to show who has me in their data and then helps me take action. I was shocked to see information on like 80 different sites, including, searches of people being like, these people are looking for you. Those things, even when it's like 15 people on LinkedIn. I'm like, dude, I ain't even on LinkedIn. What do you mean? What's happening? PrivacyHawk also has a unique privacy score that helps you keep track of your progress and updates you with how much your information is actually online versus being removed, etc., etc. You can unsubscribe from marketing lists, do not sell things, delete requests from companies, so much stuff on there. Plus social security and sensitive information monitoring, financial and other access on there. Plus $1 million in identity theft recovery insurance, giving you peace of mind, helping you stay in control of your data and your privacy. See where your data is exposed and take the steps to be safe online and protect your privacy. Download the app. Get free privacy scan and use code COX20OFF, that's COX20OFF, for a special price on the PrivacyHawk Platinum Subscription. That's COX20OFF for a special price on PrivacyHawk's Platinum Subscription. Go to go.privacyhawk.com/CoxandCrendor, the link down below for exactly how you spell that. It's COX-N-Crendor, to download the app and use code COX20OFF, lowercase if you're on Google Play, for a special price on PrivacyHawk Platinum Subscription. All right, let's go to Chop 7 the guy with Crendor. How's that traffic out there?
Oh, man, let me tell you, traffic's actually not as bad. Everybody's heading back home, or they've gone back home, and the holidays are calming down. Thank God, because it was nonstop for a while with holiday stuff. I'm extremely happy to just get back to nothing happening. I don't know about you, but I'm very excited. So, here's to nothing. Back to you.
All right, let's go to weather.
Weather.
By the way, did you see I linked you a full-on Cox and Crendor weather tour?
Weather tour. Oh,
did you see that?
Yeah, I did see that.
It is everywhere we've done.
That is pretty wild.
Last updated 7 days ago.
We've covered quite a bit.
I'm impressed with us. It's also very funny. There's some places like we have not touched Western Australia at all.
We haven't touched Greenland.
Yeah, Greenland for some reason, nothing. We've been to Iceland. We've been to the middle of nowhere, Northern Atlantic. We've done a lot of places, but for some reason, yeah, we have not done Greenland. Who knew?
We've
been everywhere in Canada.
Have we done British Columbia? Looks like we've done the borders. We haven't really done.
Oh yeah, we haven't done Vancouver. Yeah, we haven't done British Columbia, or at least as far as I can tell, Quebec.
Oh yeah, or
Although
Newfoundland.
I guess we've done New Brunswick, but we've never. Yeah,
we've done
Saint
Pierre, Miquelon.
It's crazy. We've done Antarctica. We've been all over the place.
Yeah, give us some British Columbia, Quebec, Newfoundland.
Newfoundland. You said it like you just landed there.
Now this is
I
Newfoundland.
declare this Newfoundland.
We haven't done Cuba. We haven't done. What is there? Paraguay.
Yeah, we haven't been to Haiti, Dominican Republic, Jamaica.
Oh, do we need a Madagascar?
Those monkeys, I like to move it. We don't have that.
Yeah, we don't got those.
Nothing in Iran. Nothing in Afghanistan. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Some reason, Mongolia. We got it. Mongolia is good.
Yeah. We got Mongolia.
Also, China.
Yeah.
We've got Nepal, but nowhere in China. No one's been like, we want to know what's going on in Hong Kong. Not a once.
Yeah.
I want to know what's going on in Hong Kong. I would love to visit Hong Kong.
I feel like you would go anywhere.
True. Well, there's some places that are very war-torn, and I know I'd be shot immediately,
That's
so
true.
I'm not going there. I look like a fun target to kill. I don't need that.
Well, for this weather, we only got a couple weather suggestions, and I landed on Paris, Denmark. So we're going there. Mm-hmm. That's right. The Paris, Denmark.
Paris is like one single road with
Yeah.
exactly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to say 20 houses.
Yeah. There's like nothing here.
Yeah.
I can't even find Gudum.
Gudum is, if you look at the map, Gudum or Good Damn is to the left.
No, I found it. I mean, it won't find the weather for Gudum.
Maybe it's because there's no weather there. Maybe because it doesn't exist. Although you can get a hotel room for $48 a night.
Dang.
So that's not bad.
What about Resenstad, Denmark?
Resenstad?
All right, we're just doing Struer. This is too much.
All right. Struer? Yeah, Struer and Bremdal. Bremdal sounds like the name of a villain.
That does. Bremdal.
Yeah, we have to stop Bremdal from taking over the world.
It also kind of sounds like it'd be my villain. Like Crendor versus Bremdal.
Versus Bremdal. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's remember that video where it was two guys doing a lightsaber fight back in the day, like early 2000s, and it was like Dorkman versus Nerdlinger, and everyone was like, yo, the new video's out, dude. Those are great. Those are good days.
So in Struer, it's 48 degrees Fahrenheit. Feels like 40. Humidity 88%, 29.9 inches of pressure, 4 miles visibility. High 49, low 35, 9 a.m. sunrise, 3:56 p.m. sunset, 24 mile an hour winds, 44 on the dew point, 0 on the UV index, and a new moon on the moon phase. Taking a look at the 10-day. It is going to be raining and windy all day with wind gusts over 40 miles an hour, 49 degrees. Tuesday, 46 rain wind. Wednesday, 46 light rain wind. Thursday, 38 a.m. snow showers. Friday, 37 rain snow showers. Saturday, 36 partly cloudy. Sunday, 35 with some p.m. snow showers. And Monday, 35 with some rain and snow. Really, it's a lot of rain and snow hovering around like 36 degrees.
That sounds right. What's very weird about, and again, I must stress, there's not actually much in this area. I was going to be like, yeah, look and see what there is to eat and do. There is very little.
Yeah, there's really not a lot.
And the things I did find, immediately disappointed. McDonald's, I'm like ruined immediately. They do have some cool places, but most of it's kind of like little cafes, little tiny cute places, like along the water. Restaurant Ved Fjorden looks very fancy, like delicious fish. There's also a pirate ship outside for some reason. Love that. I would go there in a heartbeat. But yeah, most of it along the water is like really nice. But then the minute you go inside the city, it's kind of like McDonald's, a takeaway place.
Yeah, Gimsing takeaway.
Yeah, it's just what I found. And then a lot of like fix your car, fix your desk,
Surf
that
shop.
kind of stuff. Yeah, but not a lot. Really, kind of. A lot of grocery stores though, so I imagine most people here are cooking stuff at home.
Yeah, that would make sense.
I'm seeing a lot of grocery stores.
What if you go up to Bremdal?
Bremdal? Probably, what's going on in Bremdal?
I don't see
Even less.
anything.
Even
nothing
less.
Here.
Well, hold on. Let me go out further. Where
What
are
if I
we in
drop
the
into
grand
the
scheme?
Center of Bremdal.
Oh, we're in like the north of Denmark.
Dude, this place is crazy. This is like, it's like we're in the countryside, but it doesn't really feel like a country when you're going down the street. It feels like a suburban
Yeah,
area.
it looks kind of like suburban America.
Yeah, but then there's like, it's only suburban stuff. There's no like business district. It's just like houses.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there is a business district. I'm looking at it right now, but it's a Little or a Netto or a like grocery stores. There's a tack shop, a place for fishing stuff.
Yeah.
But it's all it's just honestly, it's probably what happens when your country isn't run by corporations.
This is kind of crazy.
Because I'm looking at it, there's a lot of like lovely houses. I'm on Street View, and there's a sports field, and there's all sorts of stuff. But yeah, it's mostly houses. Stop, dude. Call us. Please, I want this to happen. Anyone, whoever wrote this, whoever is in Denmark right now, the Nordic Podcast Academy is located here. Along with Sound Hub Denmark and the Danish Sound Cluster next to the Sound Art Lab. Are you telling me there's a podcast? I'm going to their website. The Podcast Academy? Come on now.
Podcast Academy. That's where we got to go.
Dude, NordicPodcastAcademy.dk.
Is it
crazy? So instead of 18 McDonald's in this town, they're teaching people like, hey, here's how you make a podcast. Yo, the Bang & Olufsen. I don't even know how to say that thing, but it's the Bang & Olufsen Innovation Lab. These guys are the only headphones that I use when traveling.
What?
Yeah, B&O. For years and years, Apple headphones fall out of my ears all the time. I hate them. The little in-ear ones, they drive me crazy. And so I haven't bought the wireless ones because what's the point? They would just fall out and then I'd lose them. So years ago, when I was traveling a bunch overseas, I bought these B&O headphones that could plug not only into a music device, but also the TV/movie things in an airplane. Love them. They sound so good. I've had them for, I'm going to say 10 years. This is that company. That's crazy.
Damn, this is
some of my favorite in-ear headphones. I had to, for my new phone, because they don't have a headphone jack anymore, I had to go out and buy like an adapter. Still sounds great. Big fan.
I wonder if they'd send us stuff.
I would love it if they did. Are you kidding me? I would be so ecstatic. And so that's crazy that they're just right there. The B&O, it's like, I'm looking at them right now. Who knew?
Damn. Small world.
Really is. Really is.
Well, that's the weather.
All right, let's go to sports.
Sports. At the sports desk. Do, 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 do. Currently in sports, in the NBA, we got the Cleveland Cavaliers 27-4. They lead the East. You got the Oklahoma City Thunder 26-5. They lead the West. Over in the NHL, we've got let's check the conference. You got the Devils and the Capitals up at the top, 51-50 points. That's pretty good. Then in the West, you've got the Jets and the Golden Knights at the top, 53-51. So those are your best teams right now. And then in the NFL football today, we had a lot of terrible games occur. And we're getting to the point where most teams are either in the playoffs or out of the playoffs. So right now we got the Chiefs, Bills, Ravens, Texans, Steelers, Chargers all in the playoffs with one team remaining to get in. It's either going to be the Broncos, who have the highest percentage chance, or the Dolphins or the Bengals. Bengals can get in if the Dolphins, the Broncos lose, and the Bengals win. Dolphins get in if the Broncos lose and the Dolphins win. And then the Broncos get in if they just win. So that's the big thing. Meanwhile, in the NFC, you got the Vikings, Eagles, Lions, Packers all getting in. Rams are also probably in. And then you got Buccaneers, Commanders, Falcons all battling for that final playoff spot. Primarily Buccaneers, Falcons. So we're getting one more week of football after this. So we got playoffs.
Playoffs?
We're just trying to win a game.
As a Steelers fan, I feel that. It's been rough the last couple weeks.
Yeah, they're not
somehow still in there, but I don't know if they're gonna get to the end.
They're not looking too hot. Granted, neither were the Packers today. They almost came back. Packers almost came back, but they lose again to the Vikings. So that was fun. Great stuff. We'll see what happens. That's sports.
I did want to ask you a question.
Sorry.
I'm trying to look it up right now to see if I can find the exact thing. But
okay.
There was a post a few days ago, and I'm trying to find it. It was on Reddit. It was NBA Talk.
Mm-hmm.
And they were talking about the NBA, and boy, I can't find the exact post. But the gist of it was there was a lot of talk on, I think, maybe ESPN about how the NBA is losing views. People do not care anymore about the NBA. It is not as popular as it once was. They're having trouble filling, like advertising budget things, right?
Yep.
And all the comments said the exact same thing, and I couldn't agree more. It was absolutely 100% correct. They said the reason why is because for 99% of the season, the NBA does not matter. The only time to watch is during playoffs, and any other time, it is stupid. The seasons are too long. No one cares. The games don't matter. And because the season's so long, they keep most people that could do things benched. They don't play people long. It's usually watching the star destroy another team. It's not as fun as it used to be. And I completely agree. I don't watch basketball until it's playoff time.
I somewhat agree, but I think there's more to it. So
like what?
The big difference is, NBA seasons used to still be like 72 games. It's not like that much change. Like when Michael Jordan and everybody was playing, it was still 72 games. So the big difference now is nobody plays defense, and everyone just shoots 3-pointers. And if you look at a score from back in the day, it'd be like 90 to 87 or like 83 to 78. And if you look at a score now, it's like 147 to 136. And you're just like, what the shit's going on? And the biggest thing is, it's literally just 3-point contest. And it's boring. Like after when everybody's just shooting 3-pointers because they all figured out using statistics that it's the best possible shot, then it's like, okay, do I want to watch 3-point contests? Not really. So I guess I'll watch something else. So that's pretty much the main driving factor. And then some players just play to get fouled. Some players just take games off, like you were mentioning. And if you go to an NBA game and you want to see your favorite guy play, and it's like, oh, he's having a rest night. Like, okay, cool. Glad I paid all that money for tickets to watch the guy on the bench. It's like there's so many different things that are contributing to the loss of viewership. And I think the biggest one, though, is like, even I don't really care as much with like 3-pointers and like no defense. It's like It's literally like the entire game. Like, it used to be like, oh, the 3-point shot is like a risky shot you take to pull ahead. Now it's just like, if you're not taking a 3-pointer, you're just statistically bad. So like, they have to do something about it, because it's definitely ruining the game. And they lessened or loosened up like defensive rules to make it even worse. So now it's like you just can't even guard anybody. So yeah, there's a lot of issues.
I'm looking at some comments that I didn't find the Reddit post, but the NBA section of Reddit is just, the last couple weeks have just only been people being like, it sucks now. Some of the things I'm seeing here, one guy had a post that is basically saying, 3-pointers are the problem? Dude, there's other problems. And he says, and I don't know what this means, the flopping, what does that mean?
Flopping is when you pretend to get fouled to try and draw a foul from the referee.
That sounds right. Yeah, okay. Then okay. Initiating contact to draw fouls is a problem, he says. He says longer games because all the damn clock stops due to fouls and free throws.
Yep.
Games start too late, 10:30 p.m. Eastern. How the hell am I supposed to watch that when I work in the morning? Are you kidding me? An irrelevant regular season game? And then he says too many regular season games. And then the last one here is bad load management.
Load management's just the players not playing.
Yeah.
So yeah, the other one that I think they also leave off is they've made it harder and harder to actually watch the product. So, for example, if you pay for like the All NBA Access TV subscription, you're like, wow, I get to watch all the NBA games except for your local market team. And so it's like, okay, how do I watch my local market team? Well, you have to go through your cable provider. But now a lot of these cable providers, nobody's watching them because nobody wants cable. So then people are like, oh, I'll get like YouTube TV or Hulu or DirecTV or whatever. But then a lot of these things don't want to carry sports because they have to pay more for the license for the sports. So then the sports people are like, we'll make our own app. And so, for example, in Chicago, they're like, check out our Chicago sports app. And it sucks ass. They didn't even have an app for like half the year. And they were like, they weren't even on cable. They were literally like, you can watch us on DirecTV or with an antenna. Like, what is this, 1993? I have to bust out an antenna to watch sports? So instead of watching sports, people are just like, I'm just going to do something else. Nobody watches. Plus, the teams suck.
I mean, that's how I feel about the comparison between the NBA and the NFL. Like, the NFL is 16 games in a season.
Yeah.
That is reasonable to me to watch. The NBA, baseball,
all that. Now they upped it.
Well, all right. That shows you how much I pay attention.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, MLB, I'll be honest, most of baseball I don't watch until the playoffs because it's too long of a season. Same with the NBA. The NBA is just too long. And it really does devalue what the normal season of the game is, because I just don't care, because literally I'm not sure exactly what the right number is, but it is, I'm going to say like 2/3 of the NBA teams make it to the playoffs. Like it is a ludicrous amount of teams make it to the playoffs. And then that's when you can care.
Yeah. I mean, you can kind of make that argument for every sport where it's like, just wait for the playoffs.
Except, and I will say, the small number of NFL games makes those matter more.
Right. They're even doing a thing now. Technically, there's 18 weeks, but you get a bye week, so it's 17. But now they're playing along with the idea of allowing another week and then giving teams 2 bye weeks, but they play 18 games. And so they're trying to get more games, but the players are like, I don't want to play more games because we literally get like, it's like fighting every week. You're like doing a fight, you're just getting beat up. So, I mean, that's the thing. They want more and more, but that's the reason there's only one a week, is because it's literally like you go out there and get beat up. While when you play baseball, you stand out there in a patch of grass for half the game, just being like, wow, it's a great day. And then you go hit a ball, run around. Like it's the physical demands are like completely unequivalent, which is why you have 162 baseball games compared to like 17 football games.
Yeah, just stat-wise, I just looked this up. NBA ratings are down 48% since 2012, down 28% this year alone.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not like that's not going to end well. That's like the amount of money it takes to secure big players. There's no way that that's going to end well for the people that own the teams at all. And so they're going to start cutting stuff. And what's going to happen, they're not going to cut the players' salaries at first. They're going to cut things like, that hot dog you want? Well, that hot dog's $15 now.
Yep.
And so, or the seats are more expensive, so fans will stop showing. Like, it's just going to be a really slow death unless they figure it out.
Oh, yeah. Because I used to watch a lot of basketball. In fact, I watched a lot recently, but it really has gotten pretty much all those things they mentioned, like too many threes, flopping, players not playing every game. And it just hits a point where you're just like, I don't care that much. And then when they make it even harder to watch the actual game, I'm like, I'm just not going to watch it. If I want to see it, I'll watch highlights on YouTube after the game's over.
Sure.
And that's 7 minutes, and I can skim through it and be like, okay, cool, I know what happened. Anyway.
Yeah. And I don't want to color this with the fact that when I was a kid, my version of the NBA was literally like Jordan in his prime. LeBron, there are plenty of people that are equally, if not more talented. Like, LeBron's amazing. Like, that's not there's many people that are talented. It's just that for some reason, I recall long ago it being like a different vibe entirely. And now it's, I just don't watch. I'll tune in to see all right, who's going to win? But I'm not going to watch your games.
It is, nobody plays defense. The whole point of basketball is you have defense and 2-point shot, 3-point shot, free. There's all the different aspects, and they used to play with all the different aspects taken into account. You'd have 3-pointers, but you mainly had 2-pointers. You had the center getting the ball and doing hook shots. You had actual defense where they're banging against each other, right? And now it's just you barely touch him and he's fouled. It's 3, another 3, another 3. It's you're watching an all-star game. I don't care. It's boring. So, yeah. That's sports.
Okay. I just want to talk to you about that because I saw it this week and was like, Crendor would have thoughts.
Yeah, no. I got plenty of thoughts on sports.
Well, then let's go to our fact of the day.
Fact of the day. Did you know that bananas are berries, but strawberries aren't?
God, first off, I hate that I have to believe this because we all were ruined by the fact that people are like, tomatoes are fruits, actually.
Yep.
So now I just have to accept that, yeah, all right, sure. We'll call it a strawberry. Just like peanuts are not nuts, like that kind of thing.
Oh, yeah. Yep. It's why even put it in the name?
Yeah. Pineapples are not pineapples. There's no pine tree involved, and they certainly aren't apples. But then when you're overseas and they're like ananas, I'm like, wait a minute, you call that an ananas? And even then I'm like, that's too close to banana. I don't like that.
Yeah.
We got to all get on the same page with naming stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. The same way everyone needs to learn our metric system. The freedom units of Fahrenheit.
That's right.
It might sound bananas, but it's true. Botanically, bananas are classified as berries while strawberries aren't. Strawberries are actually aggregate fruits because they form from multiple ovaries of a single flower. So next time you're munching on a banana, remember, you're eating a berry.
I never want to hear anyone describe a strawberry as multiple ovaries. What was that? That's terrible.
Multiple ovaries.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, that's one way to describe it.
Yep. And that's your fact of the day.
All right. Who has come with us? Come with us? Yep, maybe.
Uh-oh.
Who's come with us with tears in their eyes?
Yeah. Here's the first one. Dear illustrious sirs, tears of my eyes upon my cheeks, I supplicate before you.
Nice.
I humbly request a playthrough of the indie horror game Mouthwashing. I beg of you.
Is that a Cox and Crendor thing, or did you just think you were on a episode of Scary Game Squad?
I think that's just a Scary Game Squad.
I mean, it's on the list for me to play for sure.
I have heard it's good.
Yeah, I've also heard it's really disturbing. So, I mean, that'll be a thing.
Yep. Cool.
Yeah. Great, nailed it. Good, yeah.
Dear
cool.
illustrious sirs, tears in my eyes, howling in desperation for your words of wisdom in these troubled times, I ask you,
yes.
What is your favorite dinosaur or other prehistoric creature? Mine is probably Calicotherium. It looks like a horse gorilla.
Calicotherium? Wow.
Yes.
It really does look like a horse gorilla.
It does. What the hell?
That guy looks awesome. I love this dude.
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
Also, you can find it in Ark Survival Evolved.
Oh, yeah, Ark. I know that game.
That's a whole thing.
Dude, what was that? There's like a big sloth like that, too, isn't there?
Yes, there is a giant sloth.
Yeah, there it is. I found it.
What's it called?
It is called the Megatherium Megatherium Americanum?
Oh, yeah, Megatherium. Yeah, he literally is just a big old sloth. Yep.
There it is. That's my favorite dinosaur.
Interesting that we're talking about mammals, though. I don't think this qualifies as these qualify as dinosaurs, right? Because they're warm-blooded.
Yeah, that's true. That's more of just prehistoric animal. Maybe that's
yeah.
What's your favorite prehistoric animal?
Man, I like. Obviously, I'm a big fan of like any T-Rex variant thing, but for some reason, to this day, when I think dinosaur, I always think of Stegosaurus every time. I love a Stegosaurus mostly because of the infamous when I grew up, and this is a thing, we were told that Stegosaurus had a brain in its butt. And I, to this day, remember that, and it's one of those things that is just not true.
Oh.
It's just not true. There's a weird cavity. Basically, the brain of a Stegosaurus was very, very tiny. And they didn't understand how such a tiny brain could operate a massive creature. And so there was this weird cavity sort of in the back end of the Stegosaurus. And scientists, for a period of time, and when I was like a wee lad in the 80s, thought that that's where another brain was that operated the back half of the dinosaur. This is no joke. This is a real thing we were taught.
Huh.
And then they were like, no, we were wrong.
Oh, well, I mean, it was a good guess.
Yeah, and I love that, so I love Stegosaurus. I like the spikes on the back. I like the tail spikes. I like his derpy little tiny head. Everything about him, great. Big fan.
I also really like the Borealopelta.
What the hell is that? A wolf?
No, Borealopelta. It's a dinosaur.
What is it?
Oh, God. It kind of looks like a Bastillodon from Warhammer.
Ah, okay. Sure.
Yeah, he's got like a bunch of spikes and stuff.
I think we just like things with spikes on them.
I think we do.
And I'm here for that. Like, a T-Rex is cool, but he got them derpy arms. He's not grabbing anything. He's not doing anything cool.
Yeah, look up Borealopelta and then look up Bastillodon. They look pretty similar.
Yeah. This one just has, for some reason, one extra large damn spike.
Yes.
But if you were going to ride him like some sort of lizard man, you'd wrap the ropes around that extra long spike, and that's how you'd move him.
Exactly. Or you attach a large crystal to zap people with.
Right. I mean, as one would do.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Just
With the little skink riders.
Yeah.
Exactly. By the way, I have 4 Bastillodons. It's a problem.
I love that.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a problem at all.
I actually have the lizard men. I have the most of any army.
While my experience with them only extends to Total War, they're some of the most fun to play in Total War, Warhammer. Just the most fun.
Yeah. No, they're great. In the actual game, they're kind of like Total War. They have so many different ways to play. You go magic. You go like full dinosaur. You go more like Croxagore.
I love my Crocs boys. Just big old guys. Oh, yeah, they're great.
Yeah. No, I have 6 physical Croxagores. Good stuff.
Damn.
Yeah, great stuff. Big fan. A lot of variety. Lizardman.
Yep.
Yes. That's that segment.
Okay. What is our big news story of the day?
Big news story of the day. Yep. Argument over anime ends with dead crocodile and jail for Alaska brothers.
I must stress to everyone, this is a story that was presented to me at the live show. And it was done as a riddle. So it was like, hey, if you had to guess where an anime fight with a dead crocodile took place. Where do you think? And I was like, oh, Florida for sure. And they were like, Alaska. And I was like, what? How is there a crocodile in Alaska? I have questions, dude. Questions.
We've really been ignoring Alaska Man for far too long.
Yeah, I feel like Alaska Man is just Florida Man's northern brother. He just like him, except he probably says a bunch and murdered someone and fled to Alaska.
Yep, to kill a crocodile.
Yeah. And watch anime.
That was cold-blooded.
Boo.
Yep. A crocodile is dead, an alligator is recovering, and 2 brothers are in jail after an argument about anime turned fatal in Alaska. Tyler and Ricky Lowe's Thursday night feud came to a head when they tossed each other's exotic pets out the window of their shared apartment into the snow. Tyler threw Ricky's pet alligator, and Ricky launched Tyler's crocodile from their Wasilla apartment. It's not clear what anime kicked off the dispute. That is...
that probably is the most important thing.
Yeah.
We got to know what the anime is.
State troopers were able to locate the alligator, which survived, but were not able to locate the croc, who was presumed dead. Neighbor recounted the bizarre encounter with a trooper who was tasked with finding this very out-of-place critter. They go, have you seen an alligator run past here? And I go, you guys are kidding, right? The guy who lives next door to the Lowe brothers said. Strickland, who has lived in the apartment building about an hour outside of Anchorage for a month, said he had no idea that a croc and gator were right next door. Troopers were called by Ricky Lowe from the street after he left the apartment with his 2-year-old child. The brothers were arrested and charged with animal cruelty and assault. Ricky Lowe faces additional charges of DUI and child endangerment.
Wait, okay. What?
Yeah, we got no details.
There was 0 details in there. I was waiting for you to say, like, all right, and this did this. And that was just...
You can kind of piece something together with the fact that there was these 2 brothers, a 2-year-old, an alligator, and a crocodile, all in the same vicinity. I feel like that already says a lot.
Exactly. But also, it's Alaska, so I don't know... Boy, I have so many questions. Just so many questions.
It's how did they get them? Where are they from? Why are they here?
I mean,
are they
again,
pets? Are they just holding them to like sell to someone else?
Tyler, a 33-year-old, threw Ricky's, a 30-year-old, pet alligator.
Oh, it is pet. Okay.
I just have a lot of questions. Also, it's Wasilla, Alaska, which is even funnier because that's where Sarah Palin's from, and I love that. I love that. That's a little fun fact to throw in there.
Also, I feel like every time someone has an exotic pet, they're insane. So, like, I feel like we just shouldn't have exotic pets.
Honestly, I'd like to keep it open. You know what? Let the crazy people have their exotic pets because one day I might be crazy and want an exotic pet.
Well, if we're going to have exotic pets, we need to allow Monkey Mondays.
I'm with you on this.
Can't have one without the other.
I just don't understand how an alligator survives in winter in Alaska. That alone is tripping me up.
That is pretty crazy. I have no idea.
I just don't understand. And the fact that we will not know what anime they were arguing over, I mean, finding an answer to that question might absolutely explain why you would throw an alligator. I've had some arguments with people about TV shows where I've been like, you're just wrong, and I've wanted to throw their own alligator at them. Yeah.
What anime do you think it was?
I don't watch enough anime to know. I will say, what is the popular one that everyone's watching right now? Ninarin, Kiramen. I don't know, something like Ninanen.
Yeah, but they're like in their early 30s. I feel like they'd be arguing about a bit of an older anime.
I don't think so. Unless they were arguing over whether, like, Akira was
One Piece. And one was like, I bet One Piece is going to have 3,000 episodes. And the other one was like, no, it's going to have 4,000 episodes.
I hope that's not the case. What a terrible argument to have.
Whatever the argument is, it's going to be terrible because it's about anime and throwing exotic pets out the window in Alaska. Doesn't matter what they're arguing about.
All right, here we go. I typed in top anime arguments 2024.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what is the best anime of 20? No top arguments. That's not no one be arguing on here, huh?
Controversial anime opinions.
Ooh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah. All right, here we go. This one's mildly controversial. Well, it's just mildly. Where's like full on controversial? Here we go. I don't think JoJo is not a starter anime is controversial opinion to have. What? This post sucks.
Maybe it was something like what's that Delicious in Dungeon show? Maybe it was like they were arguing about whether eating a scorpion would be delicious or not. He's like, I'm telling you, bro, it's delicious. And he's like, yeah, well, would you eat an alligator? He's like, no, Mr. Munchie's my friend. He's like, you'd eat him. He's like, no, I wouldn't. He's like, eat him, bitch. And they threw the alligator at him.
You know, that probably would be the most, because they're at least are arguing over exotic pets, which they do have.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Although now I'm looking at this list of animes that came out in 2024. And I don't know what any of these are. There's one called Negative Positive Angler. Couldn't even tell you what that was about. There's one called The Elusive Samurai. I'm assuming a samurai who is elusive. There's one called Look Back. No idea what that is. There's one called The Dumpster Battle. A hit volleyball anime. Love that. That's very funny. There's one that I actually would watch based on the name called Bartender, Glass of God. I guess it's an anthology series about a bartender who can make any thirsty customer forget about their troubles. I'm in. I don't even know what would that even be?
Yeah, I have no idea. It is. Yeah, I don't know. I genuinely wish they could have at least figured out what anime it was that they were arguing over.
That is one of the most important things to this entire conversation.
And now, unless someone else does it, we'll never know.
Yeah.
We'll never know. That's big news story of the day.
All right. Well, that's it for us. Thanks so much for listening and watching. How much this podcast. Crendor, hit him with the socials.
We've got socials, youtube.com/Cox and Crendor podcast, all one word. That's where you can ask the questions of the illustrious sirs. That's where you can recommend weather locations like the ones we mentioned, like Greenland or Newfoundland.
Yep.
Or subscribe, hit the bell, like, be alerted when these go up. Also, you go to youtube.com/Cox and Crendor. That's where all the animations are. Also, we're on Spotify, SoundCloud, iTunes, and more, I think. Also, we have our own things. YouTube.com Jesse Cox. YouTube.com/Crendor. I just put up top 10 chimneys in World of Warcraft. Really good.
I did see a promo for that today.
Dude, great stuff. A lot of good chimneys. Check out Twitch TV Jesse Cox. I see you keep playing Indiana Jones.
Love that game. It's so good.
Twitch TV Crendor. I just play Pokemon and WoW still. Then there's Instagram Notorious Cox. Instagram Crendor is taken. TikTok Jesse Cox. TikTok Crendor. YouTube Cox Clips. YouTube Cren Clips. Twitter Jesse Cox. Blue Sky Jesse Cox. Twitter Crendor. Blue Sky Crendor. Yay.
All right. Well, that's it for us. Thanks so much for listening. Thanks so much for enjoying, hopefully. And we'll see you all next time. Because as always, to be continued.